Hello, this is RICKY, the Android guy. Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Android Weekly, where we give you all the latest news as well as answer all of your questions live or during the week. So if you have a question, ask it at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com, left in the description box of this video, and just simply ask make your subject question, and I will answer it on next week's show. If you are watching live, of course, you can always feel free to leave your questions in the comment section down below. Now, unfortunately, Hangouts is still having issues from last week, and admittedly, I didn't try to fix it till about half an hour ago. Tried disabling plugins, enabling plugins, and it's just having issues. So we are going to unfortunately just keep going, but it does mean I cannot screen share like I normally do, and showing you the articles and kind of all of the content behind them as well. So it sucks. Hopefully it will be fixed. Actually, while I have you guys here, for the next for next weekend, we will be having the show on Saturday. So please note that we will be having the show on Saturday at 8 p.m. And for the following weekend after that, it's my birthday weekend, so we will not be having a show Labor Day weekend. However, immediately after Labor Day weekend is the Note 4 announcement, where of course I will do a video explaining everything that's going on, and as well we should be seeing more G3 videos. I'm going to finish reviewing the Samsung level overs, which I'll talk about later today because it was a viewer question, and just everything about it. So yeah, there is lots of content coming over, and let's just say that I'll be having new devices in September, of course, and having lots of reviews for them, so stay tuned for all of that. Alright guys, so one of the big announcements, if not the biggest announcement over the past week, definitely had to be the Galaxy Alpha. That's right, it is official. So for the Galaxy Alpha, what was it? What did it turn out to be? It turned out to be a glorious looking mid-range smartphone. But the main point of the Alpha, of course, is the fact that it was Samsung's kind of like jab at iPhone to be like, we can make a better iPhone 6 than you can. And pretty much that is what they did. Look, it's a 4.7-inch 720p display, but it has a Super AMOLED screen, so it's a better display than Apple's will be, because Apple's is finally going to be 720, but it still will lack the 1080p screen. It has an octa-core processor, at least for the time being. Most of you guys know that octa-cores do not come in the US, so if the Alpha ever does come to the US, it is not going to be an octa-core most likely. Most likely it will be a quad-core. Why is that processor important, by the way? It's the first ever processor that's a 22 nanometer processor. What that means is it theoretically it should be 20% better when it comes to battery life. So that's really what that means. Will it be? That's what we'll see, but that's what the processor should save, because it's smaller and it doesn't need to take as much energy to go across from itself now. So that's the basic idea, and I'm making it basic. It's a 12 megapixel camera with a 2.1 megapixel front camera. It does have 4K recording capabilities, and it does have, of course, ultra power saving mode, which has become one of my favorites, as well as 32 gigs of built-in storage. However, it is Samsung's first device in a long time that does not have micro SD card. Really, the last one I can think of was the Galaxy Nexus, was the last one that Samsung did not have micro SD card. But because it does have 32 gigs of built-in storage, which is fine for most general consumers. I couldn't do it, but most general consumers could be fine with it as a daily driver. The main thing too is it is the thinnest phone in the US, if it ever comes to US, bar none. It is thinner than every single iPhone out on the market. It is thinner than all the Galaxies out on the market. It is the thinnest one by far. 6.7 millimeters, just makes it thinner than any of the other devices. So it's really interesting. Now, will it be thinner than the iPhone 6? That's, of course, what we don't know, the exact measurements of the iPhone yet. So we'll find out. And it does have an 1800 milliamp battery, which is expected on the new iPhone as well. So because of this, do you guys really think that the Alpha, what do you guys think of the Alpha? Do you guys like it? Would you guys get the Alpha instead of the S5? You know, in a time where like high-end specs are everything, does that really make the difference here? Well, it's really curious in my opinion, because I had so many people that actually defended the Moto X when I thought the Moto X it shouldn't have been priced as high as it was, and then when it dropped in price, then it was more acceptable. But it was just the specs for the time when the Moto X came out weren't that impressive at all. Now this one's actually pretty decent specs. It's not terrible, but it's not the best ever. I would say the S5 still has better hardware in terms of speed capability. However, this one is going to have a really good battery life because of the 720p display instead of 1080. Displays do take the most battery, as most everyone knows. So because of that, it's really curious to see how iPhone users would react to this phone. Now, the rumors were that it was going to be coming to AT&T and T-Mobile because of the leaked model numbers that came out. But is that going to be the case? I still don't know. I still do not believe, currently at least, that this phone will come to the US. I have my doubts. I believe that it would kind of hinder the Note launch if it were to. But at the same time, if Apple really does release two phones, then I still believe that Apple's only going to release one phone, the 4.7-inch. I believe the 5.5 was pushed back, as many have speculated. However, if Apple does release two phones, and that's still on track, then Samsung would be very wise to do both of these phones at the same time, this one and the Note 4. Let me know what you guys think. The other one that I wish I could show you the screen, because it's really, I love showing you guys exactly, you know, but this one comes from Aerophone, and Aerophone is a company that is in China, and they released these specs of the Note 4. And so what it says is it will be a 5.7 quad display phone, which, you know, we've all long expected that it would be a quad display phone. However, it will have the 16 megapixel camera, and it will be Samsung's first with optical image stabilization outside of the you know, K zoom and the S4 zoom and all of those zoom phones. It will be the first one with optical image stabilization for a non-zoom phone, which is really good. Don't get me wrong, the K zoom just won the best camera phone of the year. So it's obviously going to be right up their alley with this now to have. Now, it's going to have a Snapdragon 805. Now, it's labeled as a quad-core and an octa-core Exynos processor, which is most likely the upgraded one of what's going to be on the Alpha that we just talked about. But here's the thing. This is the one that I've been long curious about. It says it will actually have 4 gigs of RAM. 4 gigs of RAM. Why is that such a big deal? Because of two reasons. One, traditionally the Note series has always been 1 gig of RAM up from the previous Note. The Note 1 had 1 gig, the Note 2 had 2 gigs, the Note 3 had 3 gigs. So the Note 4 theoretically should have 4 gigs. This would fall in line perfectly. However, to have 4 gigs of RAM and actually make it useful, it needs to be a 64-bit processor. Something that Qualcomm did show us at CES, that there was a 64-bit version of the Snapdragon 805 processor, which we have yet to see. And we knew Samsung was working on a 64-bit processor as well for their Exynos series. If it is indeed 4 gigs of RAM, it would need to be a 64-bit processor. So it would be the first major Android phone to have a 64-bit processor. And I say major as in not like, because there are other ones. I think even HTC has like a mid-range one coming out. So there are other ones, but this is a high-end to say the least. So for it to not only be a 64-bit processor, which only the 64-bit will only speed up your apps about 10% for the apps that utilize them, which, by the way, on Apple, 0. There are 0 apps that utilize Apple's 64-bit processor outside of Apple's own apps. So out of their third-party apps, none have ever been made to utilize 64-bit processor. So don't get too excited, or even on Android, even though it's easier to develop for Android, it's most likely not going to make that big of a deal. But what will make the big deal is that it can actually use 4 gigs of RAM, which might be prevalent on the Galaxy Note 4. 4 gigs of RAM is so damn impressive. The other notable part of the Note was that Samsung trademarked Galaxy Note Edge. Edge meaning possibly the bendable type of Note that we saw 2 years ago at CES, where it was a phone that went and then went on the bottom side like this. The reason why that was so nice was because of the fact that basically you could pull it out of your pocket and you could see incoming messages kind of scroll on the side, kind of like a RSS feed or stock ticker, just like that. So that's why it was so important and so impressive. All right, in other news, Motorola is going to have their announcement September 4th. Now, Motorola is going to announce 3 things at this event, and I'm going to refresh it just to see the exact image again. And again, I wish I could show you. So it's going to be the Moto X, the follow-up, the Moto G, the Moto 360, which is by far their most anticipated thing that they're announcing, and as well a Bluetooth headset, which I guess I think it might be earbuds though. By the way the symbol looks, it looks like it might be earbuds that fit in the ear. Which, if you have Bluetooth ones of those are really good. My favorites have been the tones for in-ear buds. For over-ear buds, though, we'll go on the Samsung levels in a second. So that's what Motorola is going to be, and it just leaked that the Moto 360's price point is going to be $249 because it's already on Best Buy's website. You cannot order it. You cannot pre-order it. It's just saying coming soon, basically. So $249, is that a good price? Would you pay that for the Moto 360? Personally, I think that's a good price. If the other ones are coming, and for $20 more than the LG G Watch, because I still think the G Watch is overpriced. It should be $199. There's no reason why it should be $30 more, when most reviewers, including myself, have said the Galaxy Live is better. So I don't see why the G Watch is still $30 more than the Galaxy Live. And LG will drop the price. That's just easily, especially after this Moto 360 comes out and just demolishes both of those sales. Speaking of Samsung, their other accessory was leaked as well, and this one again I can't show you. But Samsung's VR headset was leaked on The Verge, and it looks interesting. Now we've long known that this is Samsung's VR headset is supposed to be from their partnership with Oculus Rift. So it's essentially Oculus Rift is making all the hardware, technology, and everything, but it's not supposed to be augmented reality. What that means is basically if I have my hand in front of me on Oculus Rift, I can see my digital hand, my virtual reality hand, but on these devices it won't be. Now, I've not used the Oculus Rift, but everyone that I know that has said nothing but the most amazing things about it. That's why this seems interesting to me. Now, in the picture, it seems like that they have like the Note 3 and the Samsung gaming controller. I'm gonna start a new video line segment called "How to Improve Products." I think it'll be good, and that was one of the ones that I wanted to do, because the Samsung gamepad to me is really good. I've had it since before it was available in the US. And my biggest thing with it was that it only has one trigger button on the back, where Android typically is programmed for two trigger buttons. So I can't play, I would say roughly about 20 to 30% of the games out there because they require two trigger buttons. Most games are fine with one or allow you to program the buttons, which then it's fine. But if I cannot play all games, then it's kind of defeating the purpose for gaming. Feels great, great in the hand, but that's the one thing that's lacking, the second trigger button that other gamepads out there do have. So that's going to be for the Samsung VR. But I'm really curious about this. Now, this is still expected to come out with the Note 4, so I would look forward to that as well. All right, HTC Zoe is now available for all non-HTC devices. Why would you do that? This is where executives need to be fired. Zoe is one of the things that separates HTC. Well, at least it did. Samsung now offers a feature like that, and so does LG. But Zoe started the trend. Zoe did start the trend of, like, you know, we're making compilation videos, and they were very easy to do. It's one of the highlights of HTC, and now I don't need HTC to get it, so I can go somewhere else. What are you trying to do, HTC? Are you trying to get into more places so you can maybe then add advertising to it or something? I'm not sure, but this is not a smart move in my opinion whatsoever, just because of the fact that if I don't need to buy an HTC, it was like BlackBerry Messenger. I long over said the final nail in the coffin for BlackBerry will be when they give BlackBerry Messenger to other OSs. And it was. As soon as they put it on other OSs, then anyone that had a BlackBerry was like, oh, I can get BlackBerry Messenger on another phone that has more apps, that is more current and up to date. I'm going to go over there now. That's all that happened. And that's what it was, such a huge mistake for them to do it, and they did it, and it was horrible. HTC is now following these footsteps. I never understood when they first said this. I was like, no, they're not going to do. They're not really just give their prize apps to other manufacturers, because then why would I buy an HTC? And they did it. And I don't know why. Don't know what they were thinking, but they did it. So yes, I feel sorry for HTC for that move, because it's not going to bode well for them. All right, and also in the final article of the day, SmartThings was purchased by Samsung. SmartThings was a new startup company that was originally a Kickstarter, I believe, and they were purchased by Samsung for $200 million. And what they specialize in, of course, is actually home automation. So the ability to turn on and off lights, ability to control things through your smartphone, everything is now under Samsung's belt. Now, for the time being, it will remain a separate entity just under the Samsung umbrella. Now, the reason why I say a time being is because that's what has been said that it will now be. I do not buy this. I believe that eventually Samsung will kind of stop that and make it not available for Apple if they can do it. So I believe that that is a temporary. At least that's what I believe again. If it will be, we'll see. I mean, maybe they'll keep it that way. I just don't see it being a benefit to Samsung to keep it underneath. I would assume putting the Samsung logo on it, putting all of that would be better off. All right, now to go to the weekly questions. If you have a question and you're watching live, please leave it in the comment section down below. If not, just make sure to email me at asktheandroidguy@gmail.com and make your subject question. All right, Edge Sure asks, just wondering your experience of the Samsung level over headphones. Sound quality, tone, battery life, and connectivity. I know it's hard to video headphones. It is actually, but curious to see how it feels. And if you feel the quality justifies the price. So, this is kind of a preview. I'm going to be doing this review actually. I'll probably be recording it tomorrow actually. But what do I think the level over headphones? They are the best, bar none, headphones I've ever used. Bar none. No headphones have come close. No, not even close. The sound quality is really good. I mean, just amazing. You cannot hear anything when you're wearing it. I have shown it to I had a housewarming party, and what better way to actually see how other people like it than a party, right? So we had music playing, we had people doing stuff, and I actually showed people, a few of them, the headphones. They thought they were amazing. They all loved them. They all were like, man, these are amazing sound quality. And we would be talking to, in a group, and they couldn't hear us. They couldn't hear it at all. Like, I can't hear what you're saying. I really can't hear what you're saying. The sound quality is amazing, and you cannot hear anything. The battery life is about a week, and that's with actual daily usage. If you're listening to them daily, on a daily basis, you will get a week with them. I do all the time when I'm like, say, if I grab lunch, I'll like watch a YouTube video for half an hour while I'm eating, and I'll have my headphones on. Then, I mean, when I went to Lake Tahoe, my girl used them all the way back. So she was listening to her music, I was listening to my music. So it was really good, and I mean, so the sound quality is really incredible. Connectivity is fine, never drops at all. I do have the 3.5 millimeter headphone jack as well to use it for my laptop. And yeah, the sound quality is amazing. It really is. I just have to. I cannot state how good the sound quality is. Amazing. Best headphones. So much better than the Beats Studio. I will say that right off the bat. So much better than the Beats Studio. Now, the one everyone else is asking me about has been the Q15s from Bose. I have not used those. So I'm going to have to see if like a Best Buy has those on display so I can actually hear them and kind of compare the sound. But those, just amazing. That being said, does the quality justify the price? They are priced higher than Studios and the Q15s from Bose, if I'm not mistaken, at $350 instead of $300. Samsung should drop the price to $300. Samsung, by the way, has dropped the price of the other level headphones. The level ins are $149 now instead of $199, which they originally were priced at when they came to the U.S. The on, which are kind of like the solos, were priced at originally. Oh no. The other ones were $149. Sorry, forgot the name of it. The level ons were priced at $249. It came down to $179 now. So it's now $179, which is more in line with the Solo HDs and the Solo 2s. So right in between the price points. But these have remained at $350. I feel they should drop to $300. That is for $300, they would be worth the price. I think for $350, it's still a little bit of expense. It's a little expensive. But what I would see Samsung doing that I think would be a great idea, why not do bundles? If these headphones become carried in carrier stores or Best Buys, then maybe I should get a discount if I get the headphones and if I get the headphones with the Samsung phone. So if I get the Note 4 with the Samsung headphone, maybe I should get like $50 or $100 off. Then that would be a great buy, and I would say it's definitely worth it. So yes, that is my answer for the level of headphones. And again, I'll go more in depth on on a review. Mary asks, I'm looking at purchasing a Gear Fit. Is it compatible with the S Health app? Absolutely, it's compatible with the S Health app. Samsung prefers to use the S Health app. It's also compatible with other third-party ones, but the S Health app is the best one to use for the Gear Fit. So if you are going to use Gear Fit, yes, it's completely compatible with the S Health app. And that's everything. Sleeping pattern, pedometer, exercise, heart rate, all of it is sent automatically to the S Health app. All right. David asks, "Hello, I'm having problems with my Samsung Galaxy S5. I don't have the settings icon on the camera, so I can't access settings menu on the camera. Also, I can't zoom." I think I know what this is. What do I have to do? Well, David, if I'm not mistaken, you're actually on easy mode. Easy mode does disable certain features, such as changing your settings and as well as zooming in. So that's the problem. Sorry, guys, talking a lot. Don't have the ability to do breaks when I can't share my screen now. So with that, you're on easy mode, so you would have to get off of easy mode in order to have the normal features as changing your settings and everything, as I did in the videos. So yes, you do have to do that for easy mode. You do not have full capabilities on the camera that you do in normal mode. So that should be it, David. If not, please let me know, because that's the only thing that I know that wouldn't have a settings and you can't zoom in. All right, Matthew C asks, should I be concerned with Facebook app permissions? Is there an alternative app that allows me to share pictures and links to Facebook? Oh my God, yes, there's a lot of alternatives. Friendster, is it Friendster or it's called Friendster? Is an app that was very popular, especially when Facebook didn't have like a tablet version. It did, so a lot of people were using that instead of Facebook. I believe that's it. Let me check. I'm actually going to check on that for you. But should you be concerned with the permissions? I'm not a person that's really like I'm not afraid of allowing permissions to see what's on my devices and everything like that. A lot of people are, and I completely understand why. But yeah, I just Friendster. So there's only Friendster Pro now, which is a $5 one, but you don't have regular Friendster? No, they don't have regular Friendster anymore. I lied. They do. Oh, Friendcast. Why was I thinking of Friendster? I think that was a... So Friendcast is basically a Facebook, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to just verify that it's Facebook. I believe it is Facebook, but Friendcast was one. If I just type in Facebook, let's see what comes up. There should be other alternative apps as well. I just haven't looked at this up. Oh, Flipster. Flipster was it. Flipster was it. So Flipster, God, these all apps sound like Flipster was it. So Flipster for Facebook was the app that you can use instead of like Facebook, but it accesses Facebook. So yes, again, I'm not concerned with permissions, but yes, they do have access to a lot of stuff. So if you are concerned with it, you know, I believe this is changing on 4.4.4. I believe that was one of the add-ons that you could actually pick and choose the permissions or disable certain permissions that an app has. But until then, that is what we are stuck with. And also, have I tried the LG G3 yet? Yes, I do. I have it right here, actually. What are my thoughts on it? My thoughts are pretty much in line with most reviewers that I know, and that now, not at launch, but now, what pretty much all of them that I know that have said, we all agree pretty much that quad display, though beautiful, sucks outside. Just sucks. The display, you cannot see it outside. And battery life. Battery life is a great drop off from the G2. The G2 had much better battery life, and that did hurt it because it didn't have a Snapdragon 805 processor. The Snapdragon 805 processor did make the battery life much better on, say, the Category 6 version overseas, as well as Galaxy S5 Prime, that's what it was nicknamed, the S5 LTA, that also has a quad display and has a Snapdragon 805. There's no battery drop-off with that one compared to the 801 because the 805 processor was made for quad displays. So yes, there. Oh, Ed, sure, you got 2 questions in. Well, look at you. I am trying to decide if I should get the Samsung Bluetooth keyboard for the Galaxy Tab S 10.5. It looks like it works for... Yes. So, yes, it does actually just lean. So he's concerned if, if say I'm sitting outside and say I cross my legs and I put it on there, I don't want it to fall out. I see your concern. So which keyboard should you get? Should you get the Tab S one from Samsung, or should you get a third-party one like the other one I reviewed, which was the Logitech keyboard? The Logitech keyboard would not fall off. It is not only clipped in, but it's magnetically connected with when you put it up. So it will not fall off. So for more ruggedness, absolutely the Logitech one is the better one to go with by far. However, the Tab S keyboard from Samsung looks amazing. Everyone that saw that was like, oh my god, that's freaking awesome. And how light it was, and how it looked, and it just was perfect presentation-wise. Everyone was more envious of it when I had that one compared to when I had it in the standard Logitech one. So that's my thoughts on it. Personally, I would trade off a little bit of the versatility, for the ability, just because of how good it looked and how much I enjoyed it. So yes. All right. So now let's get to the viewer questions. Oops. And sorry, I just have to zoom in a little bit. And we do have a couple. All right. The first one is from Frank, I believe. Or no, wait, is that the last one or the first one? Yes, that was the first one. So Frank, what is your opinion on the LG G3 laser focus feature? There's no difference between it and auto phase detection. So here's the thing. LG, for their laser focus feature, it is really quick, but so is the S5's auto phase detection feature. And SLRs, professional cameras, use both. It's just these phones have one, and then the other one has the other one. Both use both. Now here's the thing. If you change the S5 to tapping to take a picture, there's almost minimal difference. And I'll show you guys this in a video, because that's what was one of my big things was the camera. I've taken the camera inside and out with these two devices because I was really curious. Because to me, Samsung did set the standard for the best camera phone in a flagship phone. And did the G3 exceed it? Was what a lot of people were curious about, and I was curious about as well. But if you change the S5 and change it to tap to take pictures, so that when you touch the screen on a certain section, it will focus in on that area and then take the picture, just like the G3 does with the laser focus, then it's almost the difference is minimal, and sometimes the S5 beats the G3 when you do it that way. So it's really that's I think it was more of the fact that it was a great idea, and LG just did something that I mean it didn't dawn on me, but I always did it, but manufacturers should do it as well. Maybe you should have your camera always at tap to take a picture, because to us it makes more sense, and then it's quicker. It seems quicker than just tapping the camera button. For some reason, it is. So yes, that's my thoughts on the laser focus technology. Wayne asks, do you think the next 2 weeks Samsung will be launching that circular watch we saw leaked patent on to compete with 360. So I actually had a conversation about this with someone when that patent came out. That was not a 360 watch. It was not a circular watch. That was Samsung's fitness band that we saw. We've seen on other on like it was what the hell website was it? It was Sam Mobile. Sam Mobile's website. We saw flyers of a circular device that basically was like a Fitbit. That was what the patent was on. If you actually look at that patent paper and you actually look at the flyers, they are identical. Like the dot of it, everything was identical. So that's what it actually was. Now, I at least currently, now again, the Gear S or Gear Solo or whatever is rumored to be announced with the Note 4. Will that be circular? That's a possibility. I don't know. I don't know if because you have to realize the Moto 360 and its circular design and everyone loving the circular design only happened what, maybe 4 months ago? For a manufacturer to change from square to circle and all of their components then would take time. I feel that it's greater than that of 4 months in order to produce and everything. So for that reason, I don't believe we'll see a circular design from Samsung this time around. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I admittedly have loved the circular design from Motorola, and will be buying the 360 at first day. I can. So yes, those are my thoughts on it. Do you think the leaked photos of the Note 4 are real? A lot of sites are saying they're fake. They're fake. They're completely fake. I said, even though I had a video on it, I did a video because, I felt that everyone would be talking about it and I wanted to give my opinion on it. And in my video, I did say that I believed that they were fake. I have only further realized that Samsung just doesn't leak products. They don't leak products. The Alpha was the first one that we got a glimpse of, and I feel that was a lot to do with the metal, and I feel that it was on purpose, to be honest. I feel like Samsung wanted it to leak because Apple was getting a lot of buzz. So because of that, I feel that they wanted to get talk of, oh, metal phone coming out. Because after the S5 Prime turned out to be the S5 LTE, a lot of people have been asking about the metal like a metal product from Samsung. And so I think that they purposely leaked it to get attention. What do you think the best unlocked phone? What do you think is the best unlocked phone? Not including the Nexus phones, a good price, feature counting international phones as well. Oh man. So here's the thing, because there are so many of the phones that I do not get to play with. I would say, because I have played with it, even though I haven't got my own invitation for it yet. The OnePlus One is a top contender for that, because for price point and what you get for it, great. I mean, really great. The camera has been iffy from what I've seen from from all of the people that have had it. I have 3 friends that have it. So that has to be considered, though. It really has to be considered. Besides that one, I mean, there are I think if you can get any phone right now, the S5 LTE is phenomenal. I mean, to me, there's no if price isn't an issue, that's the top phone out right now. To me, if I can get any phone right now, I would definitely get that one. Of course, I wish I could live in Korea where I would get the kind of internet speeds they do, but I digress. That would be probably the best international phone, I would say. But yeah, best bang for the buck besides the OnePlus One. I mean, there are other ones out there that I just do not know as much of, like I think it's pronounced Mu series, MIUI series. Those are good. There's a lot out there. But yeah, I just don't know as much of the international. The Z2 is another one from Xperia, from Sony. The Xperia Z2 is another one that should be considered. Um, I would say probably those three. I would probably go with those three in terms of pricing and everything like that. For entry level, OnePlus One, great for the price point. Mid range, probably the Z2, and then the highest end would be the S5 LTA version. All right. Wayne asked. Oh, that was Kronos. Sorry, Kronos asked the last question. Wayne asked, what is the big deal about the metal phones? HTC One M8 is metal and it has all the hype, but sales are bad. Exactly. Metal is just something. It's like this. Metal is shiny. Metal is shiny. That's definitely it. Metal is shiny, and because metal is considered, and Apple drove this home through their marketing, as a premium material. Is it actually premium? I've always made that argument that no, it's not. Metal scratches more easily than plastic. Metal does not reinforce better. It breaks just as easily as plastic. It actually breaks more easily than plastic compared to polycarbonate that we now have on higher end plastic phones like the S5 and like those phones. So no, I've always made the argument that metal is not premium, but people love the feel of it. However, I do love magnesium. Magnesium is a higher end metal that compared to aluminum, which is really it's what the metal is used right now. Aluminum is the one that's used by iPhones. Aluminum is the one that's used by HTC. Aluminum is the main one that metal uses. And I don't like aluminum. I've never liked the feel of it. I just don't like it. Would I get used to it? Of course I would. I've gotten used to it on the HTC One M8. I've gotten used to it on other phones that I've used, but I'm not a fan of it. I like smooth, which aluminum always feels a bit more rough to me. Except on the HTC One where they made it super smooth, a little too smooth and too shiny. But yeah, the metal is because of it's a premium material. So it's glass. Glass is considered premium material, but yeah, obviously it's very fragile. I like the feel of glass though more. The problem with glass is obviously though it can easily break. And yeah, glass just can't take drops for the most part. So yeah, that's the main thing about with the glass that's why metal phones are so hyped. But yeah, people also with Samsung don't want just metal, but they want it to look different. People often say if you have the S4 and the S5 right next to each other in the front, can you tell the difference? And it's hard to. It really is. With the S3, I always my argument was yes, you can tell the difference between the S3 and the S4. I can easily pick them out right next to each other. But with the S4 and the S5, they were closer. And so really, it's not only that it's a metal, but people want a different look for a phone. And that's what they're getting with the iPhone. Look, the iPhone in the front is going to look the same old, but it's going to be a bigger screen. But the back is going to look completely different. And that is different. The 5 looked different from the 4 and the 6. So every 2 years, they really did make it look different. This is something that Samsung also needs to do. The S3 to the S5 look different, but the S4 to the and I think it's that people expect Samsung to change every year, whereas people have gotten used to Apple changing every 2 years, so they just that's what they expect of it, and it's the expectations. It's also because Samsung is the leader right now. Look, I have this Apple fanboy that I talk to a lot, and he's a friend, but he's so much like he's delusional of thinking Apple is just so great. And he's like, oh, he constantly is continuously sending me articles about, oh, Samsung's going down. That's what I've been saying all along, bro. That's what I've been saying all along. Samsung's going down. Their revenue in their so-called lowest quarter ever was better than Apple's revenue combined with HTC and LG's revenue. So if they're going down, why are they getting more money than everyone else? And that's really the thing. That's really the main point that I kind of drove home. It's not like people are attacking Samsung right now because it's making headlines. If people say, it's just like when Apple first lost Steve Jobs, it was like the main thing, and myself included, was like, oh, Apple's gonna fall. Now Apple will fall eventually, but I was not a fool. I was not gonna be like, oh, like in 2 years they're gonna fall. No, they have enough money. Apple has enough money to last 5 to 10 years on complete failures. They do, and this 6 will be a big deal because this 6, if it's a hit, it will cement Apple further. If it is even decent, so if they like do around the same amount of sales, what does that mean? That means that they've reached the peak, and that's it. So, and obviously they can slide by for a while, but eventually it's going to drop off if they can't come up with better. So it's really curious to see. This is a big departure. This is not Steve Jobs' Apple anymore, because these products that are coming out now were not Steve Jobs. He wouldn't have done this. So we'll see how it goes. Kronos, I hear the OnePlus One is garbage. Actually, no. Both the two main friends that I talk to more often that have it, that I've seen more often with it, and one of them was here yesterday. No, they're enjoying it. They just the update improved the battery life dramatically, from what I heard. But really, the camera was the main complaint about it. But in terms of speed and people that are purists, people that love stock Android, and CyanogenMod really is practically stock Android, they love it. They love it. I am not a purist in terms of I think Google should be Google. I don't mind TouchWiz. Well, I like to personalize it in a launcher. That's me. I love Nova Launcher. My personal phone always has Nova Launcher. However, other ones like that, I don't believe you need to root anymore. I don't believe you need stock Android. The fact that I can almost uninstall every built-in app now on 4.4 with Samsung was a big deal to me, and that's something you can't do on LG and HTC, which I thought was foolish, because I can get rid of the built-in apps on my S5, but I can't get rid of the built-in apps to my G3. So that was one thing that I felt was better off with it. Pace, oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Wow, all the way from Saudi Arabia. That's crazy when different people see me, and thank you for that. I appreciate that. Yeah, guys, so that looks like we're gonna wrap up. Wow, did we really went a long time today. Sorry if I was rambling. Wow, 50 minutes today. All right, guys. Well, thank you as always for watching. Do appreciate it. Please give a like, thumbs up down below. It really does help me out a lot. And make sure to share my videos with all your friends, guys. Spread the word. Thank you again for watching. This has been RICKY, the Android Guy.